You have found the Lost Legion, a Star Wars Legion podcast where we talk about tactics, releases, news, and most importantly, a lot of trash.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Lost Legion. I am Adam, joined as always by JR. My dewback proxies are way too small, Dieter.
Hey.
And joined by the infamous Omar. He did win a little, so we allowed him to come home.
I got my royalties to come in.
Hey, so real quick, some podcast announcements, kind of a big drop. We are going to start a paint stream or paint tutorial. Omar is going to be the one doing it for us. We're still working out if we want to do it live stream with some Q&As or just kind of record it and post it as we go. But we're looking for that for the next couple weeks. This week we will be at Ender's Games in Clovis, California. On Wednesday, shop opens up at 3, I believe. I'll be there about 5:30. Look to the stream about 5:30 on our Twitch. I'll throw the information up on your stream. Other than that, I mean, it's just the Escalation League. Dieter, how's that coming along?
It's coming along good. This is the last week to get your guys' game in. So far, there's only been one recorded game, but I know people are busy. You know, Halloween's around the corner, so I'm hoping next week we have the results.
All right. I know my game's this Wednesday. Not that it matters, but I'm hoping to go 2-1 instead of 1-2.
So you'll be 2-2.
Let's see, Omar, you got any big announcements for us?
Just the let's see what else. Yeah, just trying to plan to put together the painting idea. It would be cool. I mean, I mentioned it because I would like to kind of spotlight and showcase some of the local guys, their artwork also. I think that'd be pretty sweet to get some of the guys. I mean, I think you guys mentioned in one of the episodes about, you know, you guys kind of got into it with proxying and your idea on when a tournament is allowed, or and I think JR, you said, you know, you're buying the models. Some guys they buy the kits and they just want to build. And then maybe they'll build and paint for somebody, so they'll do like commissions. Or some guys will, you know, part of the passion of the hobby is to, you know, build, paint, show it off on the tabletop. So I think, and then there's a lot of, you know, that's it's the hobby. You know, I feel like not only the game aspect of it and like the tactics but also showing off, you know, how nice something looks on the table and give some guys some recognition, because I've seen some cool stuff on the groups that people are posting and their progress or work in progress pieces or some finished pieces, and I feel like how cool would that be to kind of showcase that also. You know, a small segment of that would be pretty sweet.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, a lot of people with their ideas when it comes to the bus. You know, somebody did the Scooby Dooby bus. You know,
Yeah, that was cool.
it's just it's
Did you see
amazing.
the Spaceballs version of it?
Yeah, bro,
Yeah.
that
That
was
was
sick.
sick, dude. And it has it has a stand on it, so like it's sitting and it looks like it's literally like hovering above everybody.
Yeah. And then when you showed me the ATST that makes noise, bro, I was just like,
Oh
that's
my
legit.
gosh.
That's
I don't
legit.
know how. Yeah, I have it in my notes because that was the ATST I went up against, and it was all painted gold.
Mhm.
And yeah, man, somehow he put a microchip in there with a speaker, and he had a little like
Dude,
a pin, and he pressed it.
I got it. I actually got that because it's a little off topic right here, but my lat, I wanted to put it in there so that way whenever you moved it, it would play Fortunate Son.
Yeah.
Yes.
But the problem is my hobbying has gone like I mean, you've seen my gray mini, so I don't hobby that much.
You know, a girlfriend will do that to you.
Yeah. Hey,
And
so
you
let's jump
know,
into.
I think, yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, let's jump into some tournaments.
Yeah,
All right.
for sure.
Let's start with.
Before you jump into the tournament, do you want to kind of tell people what's going on with Daniel?
Well, no. They kind of they're going to
I
kind
put
of
him
go
to
in.
sleep.
They're going to kind of go into the same thing here.
Okay.
So we're going to do The first tournament we're going to talk about two today, kind of mix it up a little bit, is from the 818th Legion, where our very own Omar went down to Geeky Tees. And how'd you do, Omar?
I went to go represent, jump into the Shark Tank, and I was like, I'm gonna throw the Lost Legion flag out there.
Hey.
We look like a kill team of hundreds of members.
From what I have on PTO, Leland Pena. I mean, that name might sound a little bit familiar. You guys might know him as Talk-a-Lite or LJ. He went 3-0. There's no list or anything like that. So Omar, why don't you give us a quick rundown? How'd that tournament go?
It was super cool, man. Shout out to Geeky Tees. They have one of the coolest place for the hobby and for gaming in general. So in the area out there in Burbank, and they kind of were taking last minute signups. So if you didn't sign up, you could just show up and say, hey, I want to join. So I think that's what kind of threw off the listing and stuff, because they didn't really put all players in. But they had, some people were using the website, and then some people were just sending in PayPal, or I think a few others just showed up and they would just make an announcement, hey, we got a few new players. But it was nice. I mean, I wasn't the only one from out of town. I was probably the furthest out, but everybody was within that LA area, and it was pretty cool, man. Their structure, they had this, they have like, they announced the rules and everything, and then they had this thing that was called the 818 Legion Bounty Board Objectives. So,
okay.
So they had a printout, and as soon as you sign up, they had this there. Now, I'm not sure if this is on the website or not, or if they just kind of, they created it themselves, but it was pretty cool. So,
can you give us a couple examples of that one?
Yeah, so they you're allowed to get bounty points on top of whatever points you're able to secure on the gaming, and I thought it'd be cool because that could really turn the tide if you draw. If you like, kind of how we're doing the escalation league, and so like you're getting an incentive point for painted models, things like that. So this is the same, but now they're saying, okay, if you knock out while you're gaming, some guys they mentioned, they made a note saying that, look, it might be hard for you to keep track of your bounty points because these guys are sometimes it's a timed event. That was another thing. So it's a timed event, and you're running on, it was like just fast-paced matches. So sometimes you don't have time to stop, and you're like, did I get a bounty point? Or, because you're moving. So I just got a pen and I started poking holes. And I was like, oh, I think I got that. I poked it hole real quick. And then at the end of your game, you're able to, tally up the points from whatever the turnout is with objectives and stuff. And then you can add this aside. And so what they did is they would have your gameplay point, and then you could let them know, oh, I also secured 2-3 points on bounty. But it was really hard because most of these revolved around force users. So they had some cool names on here. Like, one of the ones I got that was pretty awesome, and it was just chance of luck, was Rebellion, our build on hope. And so that one is roll all blocks on white dice saves, 4 or more. So I got that on one of my games.
Of course you did.
And then I was like, dude, Rebellion is built on hope. Bro,
your dice are fire.
Bro, I don't know what it was, man. And I had to take pictures of them while I was playing because nobody's gonna believe it,
Yeah, yep.
Peter, you have no place to talk about dice being on fire, man.
It's okay. We'll get into that here in a bit.
I feel like I have the defensive fire dice, and you have the very good offensive fire,
Yeah.
But, they had some cool ones like Red 5 standing by, spend at least 4 standby tokens in a game. If you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine. Have a full strength unit get removed from a single attack. So I was able to do that with Mandos because I was running let me talk about my list. So I had a 13 activation list. I thought it was 14, but it is 13. I was running Leia, and she had command presence, vigilance, portable scanner, medium blaster, 2 medium blaster troopers, the marks, rebel vets, 2 sets of rebel vets with the one of them had the CM, the other guys were just an extra vet. I had a Rebel Trooper with the Specialist and Prep Supplies, the Fleet Troopers, Scattergun, Prep Supplies. The two Commando Strike teams, Snipers, I had an ATR-2 laser cannon, two laser cannon teams, so I had my heavies in the back, and then my Mandalorian Resistance. I was going to put the Clan Ren, but man, points. If you're trying to run such high activations, the Clan Ren, and so I don't know. I had after I played, midway of I think it was round 2. After every round, I mean, you kind of I feel like at the beginning of the set, you already know what you would have done different in any game.
Yep.
So towards the end, I definitely had like let me summarize my list and what I would do different. And definitely, Mandos are awesome, but if you're not building a full, you have to know what you're going to do with the Mandalorians. My idea for them were that they were going to be like the push, go and get kind of thing. But I mean, everybody has a plan, like Mike Tyson says, until you get punched in the face. And that's what it was with a few of the lists that I went up against. And, it's fun, man. It was a fun time.
Yeah, I was gonna say your list definitely favors the act game.
Yeah.
But it's not really packing as much firepower as it possibly could. So when you go up
Right.
against a list that is packing firepower, it's like you got to preserve your acts to to first last them a lot.
Yeah, it was cool, man. The terrain was already laid out, so you have to, on top of preparing for your opponent's list, you also have to see the obstacles and what you're gonna face. So sometimes you go there and you're able to, at our local gameplay, where one of us is setting up terrain, and it can go one of two ways. You either clutter the board, and then you realize, okay, there's like little movements here that's more open on this side, and we do it unintentionally, or sometimes it's kind of like just to make it hard on one or the other. But the randomization was pretty cool of pairing and everything. So you don't know, LJ was there. So each time they announced pairings, I was just sitting in the back like, oh man, like
get LJ.
Yeah, dude, his list was insane, man. It was predominantly pikes. It was just,
Yep.
And he had Maul, I believe. So I heard one of his games in round 1, Maul and the other guy had another Force user. I want to say it was Luke. They both died in round 1.
Ooh,
And
wow.
So they were just gunning. He had stacks of dodges and suppressions that were like poker chips. You know what I mean? Like they were just like on the table, like stupid amount. Yeah, it was cool. I guess I can see before I started with round 1, I kind of, when I was building my list also, I had a game that previous week with JR. And after the game, JR told me something that kind of really stuck. He said, you're really passive. And I was kind of like taking in the notes every time I play anybody, dude. Like shout out to all you veterans that are out there helping us newbies. Whenever I play Adam, he'll tell me, this is where you did wrong. And he's like, this is what you did this or whatever. And any other player that I've played with, that's, you guys have been a little more experienced. But JR said, you're real passive and you have to really like you said, go for the secures or really, start the tactics in one direction. So I came out like Han Solo, shoot first mentality, like guns blazing. I was like, dude, I'm moving in.
I'm going down like Rambo.
Bro, as soon as he told me that, I was like, okay, yeah, that kind of stuck really. That kind of hit.
You're like, I'm gonna show JR I ain't passive.
Yeah. I am not a passive player. It was fun, man. The first round, we had Sabotage, Rollout, and Fortified. So it's funny because both of our battle decks were almost kind of what I wanted. And that was nice. That's another thing. So the first player, he had Andor, K2, and Din, because they were able to use him for because they had the whole SoCal rules set, kind of mimicking it. His tactics were always having a backup, so he had Rebels also and 2 ATRTs. The K2 obviously was giving support. ATRTs, and he also had Wookiees, which were moving in. Then he was moving him almost to like a sniper position. and he's just as fast as my Mando. So when he saw the laser cannons, that kind of kept everybody at bay. But then I'm trying to we both pretty much by round 3 we were already at a draw. We just had to push units off because now he's moving in, but he knows the laser cannons are there. So he had the ATRTs basically. He was using one back, and he had one towards the front, right? So if this one was going down, he started moving this one up because he knew this was going to be down. So he's just replacing it. So that was cool. He was playing a lot of replace game, but it was super fun. Cool opponent too. He was we were able to everybody I played, man, we were just picking each other's brains and seeing different their style of gameplay. But it was cool. The bounty points as well was helped me to break and secure the spotting for that. So that was a cool first round. Round 2 was against David LeBlanc, which is one of LJ's boys. He was running Empire. We had major offensive, key positions, and supply drop, which was fun because we're able to draw the cards and see what we got going on as one of the cargoes. But yeah, he had 3 mortars. He was running heavy shore trooper setup list. I think he had a Gideon and Krennic, so he had that kind of nice support system. One thing I really found out is Leia. Again, I was dishing out my 1 pips off the bat. I was just spending them, bro, because I was I want to get. He was the one that brought out the ATSD, and that thing was mean. Especially the way it's all laid out. He kind of had it ready to just get this one objective, right? So round 1, I was able to knock it down to 7th health because he was just running right into my laser cannons. So I literally had 2 laser cannons aimed, and I was, the way it's laid out for a major offensive is you have this one corner, and the bases of the laser cannons are really big, so you can only fit so much with the 2, and that crowded that area. And our terrain, we were both kind of very hidden, so so I just kept Leia in one area, command presence and everything. She was able to reach the board, so it wasn't too hard of a layout. But it was just once he started moving that in, I think I noted that I was defending with the Mandos. I mean, I had him going out, just running on one side, and it was just crucial. As soon as he started moving in with the ATSD, I was able to scale up on a building, and so then at one point, the top of the AT was here, and the Mandos were at eye level, so that was pretty cool. So I was able to just shoot direct,
right in the face, boom.
Yeah, it was up close and personal for sure. So last round, towards the end, it was one of those things, man. He was pushing forward. I was able to clear out the mortars, but those shores are, if you're weighed out on one side of the board and all your support's back here, you're just oh, okay, he's moving in one direction. It was cool. He in the end, unfortunately, Leia got crushed by the ATST. So he was a good player. That was awesome round. The last round was against he had a really heavy droid army. He used the tank. It was battle lines, key positions, and fortified positions. Again, it was a kind of things that I was looking for. I didn't want to do limited visibility where everything's useless, so at least for the first few. And that's what I was trying to aim further out, especially with the 2 strike teams. I wanted to scout them to a certain position, use terrain and all that to my advantage. So he had a ton of droids. He had the shield droids. I forget their names. I think you know which one I'm talking about, right?
The spiders.
So he had one spider, and he had the ones with the they have that shield in front of them,
the BXs.
Yeah,
there you go.
Yeah.
So he was running his tank as the field commander, and it's funny because with battle lines, I'm in range with everything. So I was anywhere he was coming forward, I just kind of had the lanes secured, wherever he was going to come out. So I ended up just pushing all my rebels to go. Their job was just go get the positions and go, score the points. It was let me see. One thing, I had a few games where I pulled out the truck, the A85 truck, and I learned a hard lesson with terrain. when I think I gave him reckless driver, and so you know how you could use him like he's basically a cannon
Hmm.
or a missile. So I played against Roman one time, and the way the terrain was set up, the bus was bumping into everything and my troopers. So that was not the greatest. I had a game against Jose, and he same thing told me. He's like, "Hey, man, you got to do your compulsory move," and so that shot it in a certain direction. And then here's the battlefield forward, and my bus is facing the opposite direction,
Hmm. Yep.
just because you got to learn how to play it. That's just
Hmm.
part of
Yep.
it. So this situation with his tank, same thing. The first move he did, he kind of saw the battlefield, and he's like, "Well, he's gonna have to displace all his troopers." The tank was literally like there's not much of a corridor. The terrain was he was in the middle of all heavy terrain also. It wasn't like things he could hover over. It was all heavy terrain. So he just like had a bus jam, it was just like the tank jam. Sorry, he was like he couldn't get through. So all he did was just had the tank in one area, and he was just shooting it the best he could. So I just had the marks, and I just started tanking it down, and I wasn't too worried about it because I was, that guy could have done some damage. So yeah, displacing that was really on his end. He was like, yeah, he kind of put people out in the open, and I just started shooting droids down, calm, all that with
Doesn't
the
that
layout.
feel
It has,
good?
yeah, it was
Doesn't,
cool, man. It was
yeah.
just then at that point you're just kind of, but I think round four we started around at the end of round three, time was already down to 15 minutes, 10 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and just because we were, and just another thing, he was thinking a lot, and he was kind of dragging because of that. He was like, well, what do I do now? I'm stuck. So he was just kind of sending droids out, and I was using Leia's ability to activate. After her activation, she was able to give out two other free speed one move to a certain unit, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was able to move like my rebel vets, and then I had my strikers was literally on top of her on like this building. So she was like like perfect cover. That's one thing when you're doing, but it was a very that one I was like, who's aggressive now, JR? I was like, dude, I was like just pushing, man. It was funny. Yeah. It
That's,
was it
that's,
was
that's,
fun, man.
it's always fun and it's always a good time when you kill droids. Like
Yeah.
that's it. Even
Especially
if
when
you
you see so
lose,
many of them.
even
Yeah.
if you lose, it's great killing droids.
Yeah. Overall, man, it was just a cool tournament. Their event, and also, you know, all these factors, man, playing against time. I think that would be cool to have more people practice that way, just to be running on the clock, because that makes you
Yes.
almost, you know what I'm saying? It makes you
Yep.
more, I'm just, I see that now. It makes you more like you dial down your what your moves are going to be, your units, and it's hard to see that sixth round, dude, especially
Oh,
when you're.
oh yeah.
It was
And that
insane.
yeah, I'm glad you said that, Omar, because like my experience when I went to LVO, the last day of the tournament, we were all on clocks, and I loved it because you didn't take because the first 2 days of LVO there was no clocks. So sometimes your opponent would take a little longer and waste your time for 2 hour and 30 minutes, and they weren't doing it deliberately. But on day
Right.
three, you each had an hour and 15 minutes. So I was cool with my opponent taking his time because it was on his clock. And that was like, okay, I got my time. And it's always a feel bad moment when you feel like you lost the time versus when your opponent took your time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think
Um,
if we implement that like in another, like let's say like a local tournament,
mhm.
um, or just gameplay in general. If you guys have a buddy, you guys are gonna get together and let's just play for fun. Hey, let's run a clock, because that really shows you like, okay, round one is gonna fly by. Why? Because you're just placing your people where they're gonna be. Round two, that's when actions start happening. Unless you're LJ and you just murder people in round one. But I'm saying any normal folk, like but I think that's the thing, that it's playing against the time was insane, dude. And then they're shouting it out. That was the situation with my last round, and I was able to
Mm-hmm.
just yeah, like he wasn't doing it on purpose. He just was, I don't he was stuck, like, what do I do other than
Mhm.
sending these guys I didn't want to send out? So in the end, I think it was last score was 5-3 on the positions. And then we kind of called it. One of the guys came over and he just gave like a predicament. Like, all right, you know what? You want to call it, and do you want to just see what I think would happen? So he started telling both of us, like, look, you're gonna do this, and he's gonna come do that, and in the end, you're gonna lose an extra unit, so you're gonna come from 3 points to 2 points, things like that. So he's
Yeah.
like, you know what? Let's just call it. I'm good with that. And then we all, rounded up our bounty scores, and in the end, I believe I had 6 bounties points. Brownie points or bounty points? I wanted to say brownie points, bro. I was like, dude, I got
Yeah.
brownie points. But
Right,
they,
get those kudos.
yeah, man, that was definitely something that I thought would be cool. That's why I kept a sheet too, and I was like, how cool would it be for us to run something like this too? Have some sort of also incentive, a side incentive while you're game playing to if you hit these, like, hey, I'm gonna hit, like not only my objectives, but I've got these bonus points for. I got a bad feeling about it. Is that was a pretty cool one? Is roll all blanks on red dice. So that's like,
Yeah.
what are the odds? Things like that.
Yeah.
Order 66 was kill a force user with a core unit. Fire supporting all contributing units must be cores. Let me see. They had some pretty fun ones in here, but I can have a copy of it if you guys wanted to put it like up or something.
Oh yeah.
It was pretty cool. But I mean, you're able to score 1 bounty point for each of the following bonuses you complete. So that was, that helps if you're at a tie. Like my first match again, that was a draw, but thanks to the points and then units destroyed. Plus, a lot of these guys had 8, 9 acts, and then coming in with a little bit more acts, that gives me a little bit more weight on the field.
Yep.
So that if I do destroy something and maybe I don't lose a full unit, but I'm trying to move people out of the way. I'm trying to do like the peek and shoot, So
Yep.
it was cool, man.
All right, guys, let's move on to our second tournament we're going to talk about.
Before we move on, I want to ask Omar. So Omar, from my advice that I gave you, and you being more aggressive in the tournament, do you think the aggressiveness favored you more or kind of hindered you more?
Yeah, that also has scenarios, I think. In certain scenarios, yeah, all out. But I mean, the thing is that when you told me that, thinking about our specific game, when you had Obi-Wan and I had Clan, right? And Ren and the Clan Ren and the Sabine. I was more passive because I was like, all right, let's figure this out,
Yeah.
But now when I had something when you're more comfortable, absolutely, dude, like aggressive playing is against time. Don't think about 6 rounds. Some people are like, that's another reason why it'd be good to train, and that's what I want to call it, training yourself to play time, because you might not see that 6th round, so it's like being aggressive absolutely favored. I had people to spare, like I not my support, but at least with units I was like, okay, I've got X amount of people in this unit, they're just going to be the aggressive runners. My Mandos are going to go, I feel like they have a really good defense, so I'm just going to shoot my chances. They've got that 3-speed move, I can get them up in the field. And one of those things is that it's, again, man, the time play was crazy. And I'm excited and curious to see how it goes for Daniel as far as his experience with the SoCal, because a lot of the players were there also. And yeah, man, I really think next games that people play take time into consideration. It'd be fun to have everybody agree to, hey, let's run a clock, and let's see how really things really they start to get really dicey. So
yeah, Omar, whenever we practice, bro, if you want to do, because I have a chess clock, if you want to do time, let's
absolutely.
do time.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
they didn't do chess clocks at Geeky Tees, right? It was just a normal 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was just timer.
Yeah.
But then the guy's yelling 30 minutes, Legion, and you're like, oh man, we're on round 3 or we're on round 4.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to get around 6? Scoring point is round, so
when we do host regular tournaments, we are all in the 2.5. Otherwise, man, we'll be there all day. Well, we're there all day anyways.
Yeah.
That's another thing too.
All day, all
you
night.
can get games, dude. You can get games out of the way like that. Also, that's another thing. You don't expect, like, okay, we have how many games running today for the tournament? Oh, like you said earlier, this might be an all-day event for a 1600 or whatever, And I'm like, nah, you know what? If you do time though, you can cut that in half. It's like, because then that's when, I mean, you have to be aggressive because you're going against the clock, so you have to go out there and do things, and you're gonna, we got to start doing that more. I feel,
Well, let's jump into our second tournament we're going to talk about. Omar kind of hit it, touch on it a little bit. We're going to talk about SoCal Open. I'm sure by this point most of you have realized or caught on that Daniel's not here, and Daniel is over at SoCal Open. He is currently in 6th place. He's gone 2-1. He's looking pretty good. I mean, if you look at strength of schedule, he actually is in 2nd place if you just go by strength of schedule.
Nice.
He's round 1. He didn't really give us too much information. Round 2 was his loss. He did say that Boss took some hits to the face early on, and it just kind of threw off his game. So, Daniel, good luck to you. I'm going to tell you same thing we told Omar: win or don't come home.
Yeah, it looks gnarly the results of this tournament because there's 4 people 3-0, and then another 4 2-1. So I don't think Daniel's playing for first, because if it goes another 3 rounds or potentially 2 more rounds, the 3-0s looks like it's going to be out of them. But you're playing at this point for 3rd or 2nd.
Right.
Yeah. No, I think he's playing for 2nd. Because there's the way it's set up. 1 of the 3-0s will stay 5-0 or 6-0, whatever it is.
Mm.
But yeah, I definitely think he's playing for 2nd at this point, and he has a very good chance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm excited to hear his games.
Oh, I am too. Yeah, so that's what I got there. Let's move on. Let's go into some games. I did not get any games in this week. I still have my PTSD from that butt whooping that Carson gave me. Oh man, that was so bad. Dieter, did you get any?
Yeah, I actually got 2 games in. I know we're pressed for time, so I got my league game in with Garrett, and then I played a game against Nick. We'll go ahead and talk about Nick's game because I actually lost the bounty. Nick beat me in this game, and it was such a good game and really, really close.
I want to see the list. I want to see the video.
Right?
I'm kidding.
I know. Well, the setup was advanced position, intercept transmission, and clear conditions. And he was running 2 ATRTs with the impact gun. Luke Skywalker, OP Luke with his kit. Now he brought force lift instead of like his normal stuff. Yeah, he brought force lift. And then he brought Jin, of course, his baby. Then 2 Pathfinders, and then 3 rebel troopers with the ion gun, and I think he had a captain or something in it. Then I think he had a generic commander. So the way the field is filled out is like there's a bunch of bunkers and trees and everything, but right in the middle is like kind of open. And I brought 4 clone troopers with nothing. The chieftain kitted out, Chewie kitted out, and then 3 Wookiee warriors kitted out with the shield, and then Fluttercraft with the overrun gun. So I learned my lesson in this game because this is my first time playing this list, and what I decided to do was, like I had said, the middle is kind of open, and he infiltrated Jin onto the right side of my my intercept, where all I had was 2 clone guys. So Jin was kind of picking up the clone guys. So I had to send a Wookiee squad over there to kill Jin, which they did. And then he had all his guys surrounded by his intercept. So I wasn't even going to bother about that. So I decided to play more passive in this one, Omar. I was very passive.
Wow.
Because turns 2, 4, and 6, I just need more unit leaders than him. And my deployment is a lot closer to the middle than his is. So I'm able to, like, as far as like terrain wise, like I can hide behind terrain and then get to the middle with no scars. He has to come out to the open. But he played more passive as well. And he had more range than I did because my Wookiee warriors want to get up into your face. So he was just at bay. He gives me, I get Chewie in the middle. He gives me the middle. I take my intercept. He takes his intercept. It's 2-1. He's shooting up Chewie. Chewie's taking a bunch of wounds. Turn 3, I retreat Chewie. And then I kind of like don't know what to do. My Fluttercraft has compulsory, so it's making its way into his units, which it eventually gets there. But this is where I think my biggest mistake was and where I lost the game is my Fluttercraft was the only unit like around his units. And my Wookiees were still behind line of sight blockers, and the Wookiees are still getting shot up. So I'm like taking a couple wounds. But since my Fluttercraft was ahead of everybody and the Wookiees warriors want to be there, the Fluttercraft went down. And I think what I should have done was, since my Fluttercraft has to get in the enemy lines, my Wookiees need to follow as suit because I need to give them more options to shoot. That way, all of them, at least some things are going to survive. Because even though he has Obi, or not Obi, even though he has Luke that can force push my Wookiees, I have 3 squads of them plus the Fluttercraft. Like he can't deal with all of them, And my Wookiees would have destroyed his guys because of his white saves versus my white saves. Another thing that he had that kind of like got to me was the ATRTs with the Impact 3. So anytime I had the shield up and he shot my Wookiees, that's 3 crits for him before cover comes in, or after cover. So 3 crits coming through, which kind of hurt me. So I didn't really have him on the armor side. I had him on the aggressive side. So turn 3, I'm retreating. I'm hiding behind trees. He's plinking me off. He's slowly moving Luke up. And then turn 4, I decide, you know what? I need this point. So I rush everything in the middle. And then I get that point. So now it's 4-2. And then since all the Wookiees are now in the middle, turn 5, he's shooting everything. I decided that if I'm going to stay in this middle, I'm just going to get killed. So I go ahead and try to take his back one. And then he just secures that back one with his guys. And then Luke does Luke things, kills a bunch of my guys. I managed to keep my VAP. So at the end of the game, it came down to 6-6 because he got 2 of them and it's turn 6. So there were 2. And then I have mine, which was worth 2. So it came down to kill points and he had killed a lot more than what I killed. So yeah, very close game, really good game. I still want to play. I think the list that I had was really good. I just think I need more experience with it because Wookiees don't want to stay far away and they don't want to hide and they don't want to be shot at. And that's just what this game was. So yeah, good game, Nick. Congrats on the bounty. So anybody that plays Nyx and beats Nyx, they get the Mando bounty thing.
It is a Mando bust. I think I have a picture of, or you have a picture of it. So I'll download it and put it in as an overlay.
You could use a picture because I took a picture of him with it.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna use.
Oh yeah.
So on that Mando bust and beating Nick, you will have until December 1st. Or actually, let me say that the last day of November. December 1st is going to be our new season. So whoever ends with the Mando bust on the last day of November will be able to keep that Mando forever.
I told Nick, I go, Nick, I'm challenging you right away and try to get this back.
So we're gonna go probably every 2 months or so. I think we'll just go. We'll have different bounty seasons and different bounty prize. Mando bust is going to be the first one. Second one, I will tell you because I have it printing right now, is going to be a Leia bust.
Oh,
sweet.
Yeah. So
nice.
It'll be pretty fun. And then since I got a new printer as well, it'll be a tad bit bigger.
When you do the Darth Maul buff, that's when I'm gonna be like, try hard.
Yeah, try hard.
There's certain people from doing Learn to Play, Katie, that say you try hard all the time.
You know what? I'd say that is suck it.
For those of you that do not know the story, which would be anybody not local.
Bro, you tell this. I think everyone knows the story. This is like a dead beat the horse story. You just tell it all the time.
Myself and JR were doing a Learn to Play with his girlfriend, and I'm just letting her make her own mistakes, but in her, just experience, it's her first war game, tabletop game ever in her life. So it's just throw dice, have fun, right? Don't worry about strategy too much. JR goes at her like he's at LVO. I mean, just
all gas, no brakes.
All gas. I think it was like half of round 1, and he tabled her, and she's just like, "What?"
No, hold
That's a
on.
good. That's a good way to go. Way to go to lose another player in the community.
You're right. Let's tell the story correct. Let's tell it correct, okay?
Taking souls, bro.
Bro, how it went is Adam is teaching Katie, and I'm just playing the game. And Adam is just like, yeah, let's put Darth Vader in the open. What's the worst can happen? And I happen to keep rolling crits with my B1s. It's not my fault. It's not my fault.
Look, Omar, you'll help me out with this one. Let's say your wife, Omar, says, "Hey, I want to learn Star Wars Legion." And she throws Darth Vader out in the middle because she doesn't know cover. She doesn't know what to do. You're not going to send your whole freaking army at Darth Vader. You're gonna downplay your skill to match hers.
It depends what time of the night it is. It depends. It depends. It depends. Do I really, like who's making dinner? Like, there's a lot of things that come into play though, dude. I gotta see like the scenario, No,
Bro,
I get it though.
Did she upset me this morning?
Yeah.
Right. No, I get it.
Bro, when you say skill level, my skill level doesn't go down, man. It just stays there.
You can't
You're right,
suppress it, dude.
Because it's so low, it can't go down any further.
Yep.
Hey, let's stop with the trash talking for a minute and let's talk about a podcast. Let's move into some command cards. I picked this character to talk about. I forgot that Daniel was not here, so he's going to be a little sad. But let's talk about Count Dooku's command cards.
Oh, Dooku.
Let's see. I'll take one pip. Omar, you take second pip, and Dieter, you take third.
Yep, sounds good to me. You want me to start first?
Sounds good.
Yeah, we'll go work our way down.
Okay, so Dooku's 3 pip is You Disappoint Me. It's Count Dooku and 2 units that you can issue orders to. And it says, when Count Dooku issues an order to a unit, that unit gains 1 dodge token. After Count Dooku performs a range attack against a trooper unit, he may perform a speed 2 move with that unit. I play Dooku a lot. I love this card. This is my I'm going to couch you out in the open card and put you in melee with Dooku. So number one, it gives Dooku a dodge, and then it gives 2 units a dodge, which is super like nifty if you're running Maul, because if Maul don't got a dodge, it's going to give him a dodge. And then what you do is you can either burst the speed or just double move into something, not double move, burst the speed or move lightning. Then you move a speed 2, right? So that's already at range 2. You move a speed 2, and then you could force push it into Dooku to keep him safe. So I like to use this card to just move Dooku in the open, lightning something. I don't care if I kill anything because I'm just speed 2-ing you and then moving you 1 into me, and now I'm safe. Usually like to do it when after someone's have went with that activation. Super fun. You can set it up for plays too. You could lightning something that's behind line of sight blocking, or not line of sight blocking, behind a barricade or heavy cover. Move it out into the open and then just have your whole army shoot at it.
So I have a question with the speed 2 move.
Yeah.
So if my Dooku is engaged with some phase 1, I use this card. Oh no, because that has to be a ranged attack. Never mind. Can I move them out?
Has to be ranged.
Yeah. A good card. Great. I mean, anytime you get dodges is good.
Oh yeah, it's a really good card.
Yeah. So let's move on to 2 pip.
The 2 pip is double the fall, and it's Count Dooku and 1 unit. At the start of the activation phase, if Count Dooku has a face-up order token, he may return it to his order pool to choose up to 2 enemy units at range 1 to 2 and return their order tokens to their order pool. So is that 2 pip with cunning?
Yeah, because Dooku has cunning, so anytime he plays his command cards, he's going first, no matter what. Or the army is. Yeah. This I kind of feel indifferent about this card. Like, it's good. Don't get me wrong. If you have a heavy opponent that needs its orders on things and Dooku's close to them, but in 9 times out of 10, I'm never using this card for this. I'm using it for cunning and just to get it. But it definitely has potential to be like make or break a game, but it's very rare that it happens.
Well, and it's very situational again, because like if you have your OP Luke out in the open and you need to go last, go first, I mean, you just lost OP Luke. Mm-hmm. But is it worth not having order control on Dooku is the question. I don't know. Situational. I think I agree with you. I would just take it just for a 2-pip, honestly.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, because he's got cunning, and then it gives Dooku an order which Dooku wants. Because one thing, Dooku is the best Force user against Force user because of Makashi mastery. So that's something to keep in mind. Like Dooku's always going to win against another Force user because of that.
So I'll move on to the 1-pip. Fear, surprise, intimidation.
Dude, that art is amazing.
Yes, it is. I mean, anything with Annie like that is amazing.
Let me put it on screen here real quick.
Oh, look at that.
I'll do.
That's so good.
That's so dope. He just chopped his arm off.
Look at his eyes too. His eyes is like, I'm psycho, man. I'm just gonna kill everything.
I'm in
He's
my
got a little
Force rage.
Jedi braid.
Yeah.
Jedi braid action. That's cool.
So it gives it just to Count Dooku himself. Dooku gains Arsenal 2, Relentless, and each of his ranged weapons gains a versatile. After he performs an attack, each defender gains 2 suppression tokens. Yeah, this card, love it. I mean, who doesn't want Arsenal 2, Relentless, and versatile?
That's everything.
Yeah, I mean, add on some Pierce and I'm happy, you know?
Well, it's super like awesome in the sense that like you can use it to whatever you're melee something and then electrocute something else, you know, doing a lot of damage potentially. And then not only that, a lot of people like to do it as a nuke for armor or just to kill a unit, because if you put saber throw on Dooku, he surges to crit. Now you can double move and then throw your lightsaber with 3 reds and then 5 blacks. And it's got Pierce 3, Impact 2, Scatter, and Surge to crit on it, and it just nukes them.
Yeah.
How many points is Obi-Wan? Because he's up to 205, right? Dooku?
Dooku's actually 195 now, and Obi-Wan
Oh,
is
okay,
now,
they dropped him.
Yeah. Obi is currently sitting at 170.
Okay. So yeah, he's kind of worth it, huh? Put him in there.
Oh, yeah, but I'll be honest right here, and I'm a clone player. I will take Dooku over Obi any day.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, like Dooku's the problem with Dooku, and rightfully so, is he's slow, right? He moves 2, yeah. He doesn't have jump. He doesn't have relentless or charge, so he's moving and he needs dodges on him. But when you play his command cards, like that could change. Putting burst of speed on him, vigilance on him is just amazing.
Well, I mean, think of canon of the movies and stuff. Like, you don't ever see Dooku in a hurry. He's just kind of like, I'm here. What are you gonna do?
He's like, he's like waltzing to you. He's almost like Vader. He's just like
he's very much a defensive player. Like he's very much like you want to play defensively with him.
So let's move on. Man. Omar, what is the best unit in the game?
Ooh. Oh man, you know, I've been hearing a lot of talk between Suns and Pikes, man. There's just a lot of talking about like the let me see here. I was trying to bring up. There was a mean list I've seen, but I think a solid unit. Like I seen some guys just run a heavy Pike enforced unit, and it's just one of those things that. But so now here's the thing, though. Do you want to? I've asked a few people. It's like, look, I don't want to be. Like, I want to have fun with lists. Like, we're doing all these different varieties of it, adding the Wookiees, doing this. Like, I want to add 2 snow speeders and like 3 tauntauns and 1 like that. That's all. That's my whole list, and then I'm just gonna have enough room to have maybe 1 Luke or something. But it'll be fun. Like for the thematics, like you said, competitively. I guess there's 2 ways to see it: competitively and what's the best unit or what's the best list for you as to play for fun. So I mean, it just depends. If you're JR, well, yeah, run JR's. What's the best list for JR? Or it's like, or if you want to have fun, and it's like, yeah, it's one of those things that it's subjective. I feel.
It is. It's subjective and it's controversial because you're going to get some hate. But I need an answer, man. What is your opinion? Best unit in the game?
Oh man. So
It's hard.
Adding the Enforcers expansion for sure.
Okay.
That's one of the guys that. So like, I think the Black Suns are pretty brutal, in my opinion.
I think
But then with that said though, I wouldn't be on the train and follow kind of thing. I still want my rebels to like, yo, the rebels got, because like the last episode, you guys were mentioning one of the top rebel lists, some of the top of the rebel lists that were out there.
Yep.
So
The
yeah,
Black
I feel like, but
Black Suns is it, huh?
Black Suns, in my opinion, are they're a pretty mean unit, man.
Oh yeah, they're
I
nasty.
think they're nasty, and I think they're underplayed because everybody's doing
Right.
the pike spam right now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But I definitely think they are a sleeper unit, and when the pikes get nerfed or raised in cost, whatever they're going to do to them, I think we'll see a lot more Black Suns, and they're going to just dominate.
Yeah, man. That's, in my opinion, something that if you're gonna be like, I just want to be the best player, we'll build something around that.
Hey, so rules questions. You guys ready?
Always.
Straight off of the walkie-talkies. We're gonna have some rules. First one. IG has a bounty on a Jedi, and after his card, bounty Jedi can't spend token. When IG-88 attacks Jedi, can Jedi still spend a dodge to have just surge and defense? And if yes, can the Jedi deflect it? So
Go ahead, Omar.
Yeah. So what do you think, Omar?
So I feel like that should be a condition, man. If there's a bounty on you, that condition should be like, it's almost hindering you in a sense. Because you're using a droid versus a Jedi, where at range, like you said, you can just take away certain the characteristics of why you're running IG against a saber throw, and you're doing all this and force push, and it's like you should be hindered a little bit. No, let's like figure that out.
So I did forget. I didn't realize that he didn't. The card was in the title. The card that he uses is focused on the kill. Focused on the kill says somebody with bounty that turn cannot use tokens.
Right.
But in this case, can a Jedi use the token to still gain deflect?
No. The answer is no. You can't spend it because it says you can't spend it. So spending it is what gives you surges to block. So anytime IG-88, because once you play this card, it's permanent for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Anytime IG-88 attacks anybody with the bounty, you're staying out in the open, or not staying out in the open, but you can't spend tokens.
Yep, you are correct. That is a no.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Standby while in melee. So let's let Omar answer this one first. Does a melee attack from an enemy unit remove a standby token?
A melee, so that would pop the standby from being in. So my assumption is, if the way the standby works is you're running into the range, right? So if you have like Sentinel or whatever, and you have up to 3, you're running into. But if you're doing the melee, would that bypass standby? So I would say no, it wouldn't, because they would do the attack right into melee. Is that the situation?
Well, so you want me to answer, or you want to answer?
Yeah, no, you answer, Jared.
Yeah, break it down.
So melee, if a user attacks you in melee and you have a standby, it's not going to get rid of the standby, because there's only 2 things that can get rid of a standby. Is 1, suppression token, and 2, a movement. So when you attack in melee, it doesn't give a suppression unless the melee has a suppressive keyword. Then it would get rid of a melee or a standby. Okay. Sorry. So that's why you don't get rid of standbys in melee, because it doesn't give you a suppression.
So, and then remember, Omar, when your standby proc, you do not have to use it. You can save it for the next turnaround, but in this case, JR is right, because unless the melee weapon is suppressive, the standby token will stay. Immune deflect. So we kind of touched on this a little bit during the live stream, but let's ask it. So it says, I noticed that Echo has immune deflectability on this card. I noticed in the rules it mentions that if only weapons in the attack pool are weapons with immune deflect keyword, the attacking unit cannot suffer wounds. Does this mean that if, for example, I ran Echo in a phase 2 squad and the entire unit attacked a Jedi whom could deflect, that they could still suffer wounds because of it? Would a model with immune deflect need to be the sole model targeting an enemy that could deflect to be able to be safe from wounds taken from deflect?
What do you think, Omar?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
Because then I think I don't know.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Omar on this one just because I think it's like high velocity. All of the
Right.
weapons have to have immune to deflect in order for not to be deflected back.
You are both
Yeah.
correct. It has to be, everything in there has to be immune deflect.
Right.
All right, I got two more. So jump, steady, and scale has one action. Is the following a single action or two? Cad Bane is equipped with ascension cables. He starts his activation behind a large LOS blocking piece of terrain. His first action is to jump onto the terrain, finish on the edge of it. He then triggers steady to shoot after a move action. Would he then be able to trigger scale as part of the same action?
What do you think, Omar?
Cad Bane.
Right?
I think he would because he's equipped with it, correct?
Yeah.
Well, so the question is it still part of the same move action? So you jump up to the terrain, you get to the edge,
Right.
you fire off your steady, and then without moving again, can you scale down? Is that all one action?
Scale to the edge, fires, or sorry, he comes up, fires and scales.
Yep.
Yeah, you should be able to do that, right?
Has only one action, so he still has another action to go.
That would be two actions.
So it should be
Right.
one action because how it works is, if I'm not mistaken, you jump as your movement, right? That's your move onto a building on the edge of the building, right? Then steady would proc, and steady says right after you take a move action, you get to do your free attack action. But scale on the other one says that if you took a move action this turn, you get a free scale action. So
gotcha. Yeah.
that's two free actions you'll get off of one action, and then you get one more action.
JR, you are 100% correct. The combination is
That's
legal.
solid.
Has the owning player choosing the order of whatever, same time effect. They both happen after a move action.
That's solid.
So last one. IG-88 focused on the kill and double bounty. If I played a double bounty list with IG-88, for example, 88 in box, and I nominate two different enemy units for bounty, does the effect of focused on the kill, which is can't spend tokens, apply to both bounty targets or only to the one nominated by IG-88?
What do you think, Omar?
Pull up this card real quick. So focus on the kill. So your question was, what was the question?
So yeah, I have a double bounty. So
Yeah.
I am running 88 in boss.
Sure.
I bounty Dooku and Maul. Does focused on the kill work for both Dooku and Maul, or only for the bounty that IG-88 handed out?
Oh, it's only the one that he handed out. Not so because this is solely based on IG-88, correct? This isn't. It's saying like if you're you plus another bounty.
It's saying in the instance of if you were to take IG-88 and I-11, and I-11 had the bounty programming, or you could substitute I-11 with Boba Fett or Din. They have a bounty keyword as well, so you could bounty two people, right?
Yeah.
So All IG Focus to Kill says
So
is
okay, no, it's bounty keyword. I get it. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah,
then it would be for both. Gotcha.
yep,
Gotcha.
yeah,
So that's keyword then. As
yeah.
long as it says, yeah, dude, this game is built on keywords. I swear.
It is. It really is.
Yes, it is.
It's all the little things.
Man, I can't wait to play IG88 and IG11 or go against them because they just look like a lot of fun. What they can
They
do.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do. So, is your answer, Omar? Yes, that both bounty units will get it.
Both bounty units.
Yeah, that's my answer too. Is that both you could bounty they couldn't spend tokens on no matter which one
Both
he targeted.
both bounty units for 250.
I hate to tell you guys this, but you're both right.
Oh,
right.
dang it.
The effect works on an enemy unit that is marked with the bounty. It does not matter which unit nominated the target.
That's key.
Yeah. Super good, man.
That's nice.
Super good.
Yeah, so that just took double bounty to a whole new level right there.
That's awesome.
All right, guys, we are pushing time here. I do want to remind everybody, jump on our Twitch, jump on our Facebook, our Discord. We always have the Discord hopping. I'll post it on the links.
Like and subscribe, y'all.
Yep, like and subscribe. Don't forget this Wednesday, Ender's Games, Clovis, California. Open up about 3. I'll be there about 5:30. Come hang out, meet the guys, get a couple games in, talk some trash. I mean, that's what we all love to do. JR, you got anything to add?
Just remind everybody, make sure you guys get in your league matches this week. This is the last week. And hopefully we have a definite winner. If we don't, the 2 undefeateds will go against each other and we'll most likely stream that game. And see who the winner of the Battle Force box is.
Awesome. We're all winners, JR.
That what you tell yourself?
Yes. After that butt kicking, it is, man. I had to get the gallon of ice cream out, you know?
Right? I feel you.
Dang.
Omar, you got anything to add?
Just stay posted. More information on the painting, what we're going to put it together here within the next week or so.
Yeah, well, we'll get it done this week, all the details, and hopefully start it next week.
Yep. So if you are a local painter, you're in the group, get some models painted, showcase it, see what you're working on. And we'll also be painting ourselves.
Yep.
Like literally we'll be painting ourselves. So face painting, we'll doing henna tattoos.
Down.
You stream my xenomorph tattoo as you put it on.
It's gonna happen. Yeah, we're also gonna have a live streaming tattoo session while you're gaming.
Right.
I've been telling JR for years now that we need a game where every mini that you lose, you take a shot.
Oh, that's rough.
So not every unit, just every mini. And since he plays droids, oh man, I'm all about that.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Not doing it. The heck.
All right.
It's not fair if this guy's got tolerance, like, he's got a bull tolerance.
All right, guys, thank you for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Everybody out there
coming on, Omar.
Left.
Yeah, man.
Thank you for joining us. We will catch you guys later.
Right. Peace out.